What better day to do this? You, me. It's cold and brisk outside. Probably as cold and brisk wherever you are as well. 6 a.m. and 54 seconds Eastern Time. This is the Drake Toll Show. I'm Drake Toll, play-by-play with the Savannah Bananas organization, Locked On Big 12, Amazon Fire TV's college football kickoff, and this, the Drake Toll Show on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. What a week. Not even hyperbolic. You know, everybody, when I was a kid, I'd listen to radio. The host would come on and, oh, what a weekend. Oh, what a week. Big week in sports. He'd say that, on July 18th. No, it wasn't. You know it wasn't. There was some tennis, but outside of that, no, it wasn't. This, though, from John Harbaugh to Mike Tomlin, the lack of head coaches in the AFC North, to Matthew Stafford's snow game awaiting us this weekend. The Houston Texans defense we'll get to see in action again. Is Seattle going to overpower the 49ers, who continue to have injury issues due to an electromagnetic facility next to their stadium? Those questions are afoot. And then on the college front, the largest point-shaving scandal in basketball history befell us. Befalls. As of yesterday. 26 people, 15 players involved overall. And who could forget? Lane Kiffin is going into Ole Miss right now to steal players and bring them to LSU. And on top of that, our national championship with Miami and Indiana is on Monday. But while you were asleep, news broke out of the Major League Baseball ranks. Kyle Tucker, in free agency, will become one of the highest paid players in Major League Baseball and join notable bad guys, the LA Dodgers. Our baseball insider and expert producer of the Drake Toll Show, Addie Bates. Kyle Tucker, this is the story of the last 8 hours, which certainly in a week like this, the news cycle changes instantly. But Tucker is a Dodger now, and the richest of the rich get richer.
What's so funny about this is a team this offseason who said, hey, we're not going to chase the big guys. We're not going to do that anymore. We've been doing that. We're going to let them come to us. Let them come over here and say, hey, look how much, like, the grass is greener. Come over here. So now they sign Kyle Tucker, who's going to be paid $60 million a year. More than Juan Soto. That is more than the Juan Soto deal that pretty much broke Major League Baseball. But for the average fan, maybe even for the passionate fan, you're like, why does this matter? It's a guy going to another team. Newsflash, lockouts and mirrors are closer than they appear, okay? Because in 2027, there is a high chance we will not see baseball for at least a portion of that season because of this deal. I think it kind of pushed it over the edge.
Addie, if baseball goes into a lockout and we don't have baseball for a large portion of that year, what will we talk about on July 18th?
Get ready to learn NBA Summer League.
Yeah, Guangdong Tigers, Guangdong Sharks. They'll actually be pretty involved in the Drake Toll Show today. Surely we can talk about them on July 18th. But as of January 16th, my own mother's birthday, this day is dominated by the coaching carousel in sports. Drake Toll with you, the Drake Toll Show. That is the latest on Kyle Tucker. There's plenty more we'll get to with this betting scandal in college basketball, and plenty more we'll get to with the national championship on Monday and the sabotage happening between Lane Kiffin and the locker room at Ole Miss. He is left and burned the whole place down. But John Harbaugh is still top of mind for me. Excuse me. That is John Harbaugh, the head coach of the New York Football Giants, the highest paid head coach in the National Football League at $20 million per year. He just signed a 5-year, $100 million deal. And this is the same John Harbaugh that was coaching the Ravens 13 days ago. Head coach of the Baltimore Ravens, greatest head coach in their short history as a franchise, Super Bowl winning head coach with Derrick Henry at running back, Lamar Jackson at quarterback, a wealth of riches, and now John Harbaugh is the head coach of the Giants 13 days later. How it all flipped, how it all changed, and how it all changed so fast. But the reason is Harbaugh could not win for you lately. He did not win for you lately. And now the question becomes, can he win for you now if you are the Giants? Malik Neighbors, Jackson Dart, Cam Scatteraboo, and John Harbaugh. I saw a tweet yesterday that said, if those 4 guys decided to race, John Harbaugh would finish in second. The young core of the Giants is pretty banged up right now, and it's an organization that decided, do we want to start Russell Wilson, Jackson Dart? We're going to go back and forth. Winning was not paramount for Joe Schoen, the GM and company, and it has to be now with John Harbaugh. That's a win-now coach. That's not a rebuild coach. It's a win-now, old guy coach. I'm John Harbaugh. I've done this before. I have the ring to prove it. That guy really wants to go rebuild the Giants? Well, Drake, they're not in a rebuild. They're actually really talented. Are they? I watched Hard Knocks pretty closely. It gives you a very good inside look into Joe Schoen and that organization. It gives the fan an opportunity to be an insider. And I remember that was, 2 seasons ago? I remember watching Joe Schoen and thinking, there's no way. Nice guy, charismatic. There's no way he's still the GM in 2 years. And we wake up today, and he's not been changed, and John Harbaugh decides to sign on with that. And as much as I feel a little bad for John Harbaugh, what if this is just the ultimate move that ends all the pain and sorrow? Ends all the pain and sorrow for New York. A Super Bowl winning coach that can flip it around, that can rebuild. Well, there's a reason, a clear reason, why Baltimore could not keep John Harbaugh. Tim Barbalace joined the Drake Toll Show and gave us that reason. Here's why the Giants are taking one man's trash and making it their own treasure. Tim Barbalace.
In recent years, I think a lot of fans lost it after that AFC Championship game where the Ravens had the best team in football. The Ravens were home favorites against the Chiefs, and they laid an egg, and they opted not to lean into the ground game. Running backs had just 6 carries in that football game, and John Harbaugh was saying after halftime, hey, we're going to establish the run, and they never did. That being said, I think all Ravens fans, Steve Bisciotti, the Ravens owner, the organization, if they were told in 2008, hey, you're going to have an 18-year run here. You're going to win a heck of a lot more games than you lose. You're going to win a Super Bowl. I think everyone would have signed up for that. But it's time for a change. There's no denying that. It was time to move on.
Okay. I mean, I agree with Tim. You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And that John Harbaugh was becoming the villain. They needed a change of voice in Baltimore. I agree with that. But I've spoken with coaches who've said this was really, really stupid. One man's trash. You, the Ravens, your trash will become the Giants' treasure. He will become the Giants' Tom Coughlin. Remember that guy? Head coach who won a couple of Super Bowls with Eli Manning at quarterback. You understand what you become to an organization when you win the Super Bowl, not just once, but twice? Because you're seeing in this cycle, in this carousel, that if you win the Super Bowl once, time marches on, time passes to where we forget about that and we're going to fire you. Or you're no longer going to have a job here. Hello, John Harbaugh. Hello, Mike Tomlin. But Coughlin meant more than just Super Bowl rings. He was like this Bill Parcells. The Giants fan base had married into this so much. They were so ingrained with what Tom Coughlin had brought to the organization that he could do no wrong. When he stepped down in 2016, it wasn't exactly because he was getting old. And yeah, sure, there are always going to be pieces of maybe you need a new voice. But Coughlin was the man who was the Giants. That is what you want and need when you bring in John Harbaugh. Coughlin was not young. He was an old dog. Didn't need to learn any new tricks. I'm going to do this the way that I do this. And we're going to win. And it almost begs the question. This was kind of the way the Giants approached this under Coughlin was, hey, from Eli Manning to Victor Cruz, we've got good Jason Pierre-Paul, we've got good players. But are we, Do we have to win in the regular season, or can we just win Super Bowls? Do we have to be elite in the regular season, or can we just get rings? Like, would you rather be what Mike Tomlin's done the last decade in Pittsburgh, what John Harbaugh's done the last decade in Baltimore, or would you want the coach who's like, yeah, I mean, we may not dominate, we may not be the number one overall seed in the NFC, but we'll win the Super Bowl? That was Coughlin. And his career reinvigorated with the Giants. Is that what we find with John Harbaugh? That he walks in, becomes their Coughlin, wins right away, and ends up saying, hey, I'm not as focused on doing what I did in Baltimore and going 12-5 every year, going 13-4, and then having it all wither away in the divisional round, in the conference title. I'm not – that conference championship game, we only need to go once every 4 years. But when we do go, we're going to win the Super Bowl. Can you Tom Coughlin this thing? Or, on the other side, tell you a story of how this could go wrong. When I was just graduating college, I was in a fraternity at Baylor and was sitting in our chapter room on a Sunday. I know that sounds insufferable. It was. And I get a phone call from Anchorage, Alaska. It is the team president of the Matsu Miners. And he said, hey, we don't have any spots this summer, but I hear that you have applied for a couple jobs here to be a broadcaster in Alaska for the Alaskan Baseball League. And I said, yes, I would love that. He said, here's the number of the general manager of the Anchorage Bucks. Give him a call. So I call the GM. Bucks guy within 10 minutes, like, yeah, I mean, whatever, move to Anchorage. We'll give you a place to live for free, which, by the way, was a culinary school for indigenous children. They would bus in from remote parts of Alaska, and I would have every meal with them. It was awesome. You learn some crazy things about the indigenous of Alaska. Go up there, live for free. He says, you can hire your own staff if you want to. You're our director of media. You build our broadcast. We'll give you X amount of dollars per game. Wasn't much, like $50 a game. We'll give you $50 a game. You come call these games and whatever. Bring somebody else if you want. Unpaid interns, who cares? So I start working the phones. Find a gal who went to Boston University. She's like, yeah, I could do an unpaid internship. Unpaid internships suck, by the way, but they weren't giving me any money. And I really was like, hey, I'm giving anyone an opportunity, anyone and everyone an opportunity to work for free in Alaska, to live in Alaska for free for a few months. And so a girl from Boston University comes over. I have a guy from Anchorage who wrestled at like UNC Wilmington. He comes over, super talented, really good. And I had one spot left for director of social media. I needed somebody to direct it. Well, there was this girl who had 100,000 TikTok followers. Pretty good, huh? 100,000 TikTok followers. She had worked at Barstool for a little bit, had interned over there, and had built a pretty high profile. She was in the running. And let me say this. She was not as qualified as the other guy. We got done the last two. She was not as qualified as the other guy named Harper. Harper wore a suit to his interview, which I thought was funny. We're working in Alaska at baseball. He wore a suit to his interview. Nailed the interview. Everything was perfect. It lined up. He was going to be the right guy. But the other gal, she had profile. She was the better pick of the two when it came to exposure. In day one, we can utilize 100,000 followers, and she was just the fancier pick. So she gets the offer. And I knew deep down in my side, I knew that this was just not the right move. That this, my number one on the draft board, was not the right move. She calls back 2 weeks after accepting it. It says, hey, I just don't know if I can do this. Great. We leave for Alaska in 6 days. Hang up the phone. I call the guy who finished second. I said, listen, you have every reason to tell me no. You have every reason to hang this phone up. You have no reason to follow me to Alaska. But here's what happened. I apologize, and humbly I say to you, if you tell me no and to screw off, you deserve to, and I will. But it's open. And it's yours if you want it. He took less than 24 hours, and he decided within a week he'd be moving to Alaska. And that summer revitalized what social media was for the Alaska Baseball League. What revitalized what social media was, broadcast was, for the Anchorage Bucks. In this situation, my own trash was my own treasure. This man's trash was this man's treasure. But this is the other side of the John Harbaugh conversation. If you're the Cleveland Browns, if you are the Miami Dolphins, and John Harbaugh is now not available. If he was your first pick and you must pivot to a Kevin Stefanski, if he was your first pick and you must pivot to a Clint Kubiak, is that bad? Did you just avoid having a coach who'd gone a decade plus in the NFL without really winning the meaningful games? Did you avoid a coach who's not been able to get it done in the AFC Championship game? Did you avoid a coach who may have lost the fastball and wants his assistants, and those assistants, even if they may or may not have hampered Lamar Jackson, what if that guy doesn't pan out in New York? And the guy that you go get, your Liam Cohen, wins immediately in Cleveland, wins immediately in Miami, wins immediately in Arizona. There's the flip side of this, where there's the real sexy pick, number one, John Harbaugh. We want him to coach our organization. When you don't get that guy, what if it works out? What if you have the best summer that media has ever seen in the Alaska Baseball League? Because you didn't get your guy. You did not get the dream on the wish list. I do think that could be the case. I do think that one man's trash doesn't always have to be one man's treasure. And Monken joining the fray could be the beginning of the end before it begins. The offensive coordinator will travel with John Harbaugh. Up next, there's more. Mike Tomlin, gone in Pittsburgh. Who is next? Their head coaching search is narrowing down already. This is the Drake Toll Show.
Coming your way. Minnesota invades San Francisco Bay. We gotta get ready. We gotta get right. The Vikings and Niners get it on tonight. So get ready. I mean, get ready. Are you ready for some football? A Monday night party. We got Frank and Al and Dan. They're gonna get it kick-started. The crowd is psyched, cause all my rowdy friends are back for Monday night.
Victory. Fly, Eagles, fly. Score a touchdown, 1, 2, 3. Hit 'em low, hit 'em high. And watch those Eagles fly. Fly, Eagles, fly. On the road to victory.
Here we go. Storylines abound today across pro and college sports. The greatest scandal in point-shaving history. DePaul on. It's great. Is here in college basketball. The Dodgers, including deferred payments, now have $2.11 billion of guaranteed salary on their books after Kyle Tucker came into the fray yesterday. Oh, you missed that? You were asleep? Yeah, pretty big. At Ole Miss, the quote is from Ben Garrett, things shifted this week. And only after Lane Kiffin leaked contract details through agents connected to Ole Miss transfer signees. Meaning Lane Kiffin went into Ole Miss, built contracts. It was like, hey, guys, look, you're not being paid enough here at Ole Miss. Come play for me. The level of tampering we're seeing in college athletics, that's allegedly. Level of tampering we're seeing in college athletics is extreme, obviously. This report, NFL players, 49ers players, have reached out to their agents about the EMF, that's the electromagnetic facility next to the Niners stadium that may be causing all of these terrible, awful injuries. It is so beautiful. I also on the point shaving deal. There's a guy who tweeted out in 2023, a DePaul fan, who said, "This is like the opposite of the Harlem Globetrotters." He's talking about watching DePaul, like a team that travels the world and dazzles people with how bad they are, like miraculously ass. And he quote tweets it today with, "Yeah, so apparently this team was point shaving." Yeah, that'll do it. I mean, we haven't even got to, there's so many things across the National Football League alone, much less the rest of sports. Matt LaFleur, ballpark of $38 million is that offer. Liam Cohen's at $60 million. Ben Johnson's at $65. John Harbaugh's at $100. So obviously LaFleur's not happy, but the Packers are saying, hey, man, what have you really won? Why should we really keep you? They could pivot for cheaper even. All of those put together, though, I think the biggest one you may have missed last night was Kyle Tucker signing with the Dodgers. Even if you're not a baseball fan, that's just, one of the best players in the world signs with the best team in the world. War is not over. The Dodgers continue their reign over Major League Baseball. Addy Bates, quick 30 seconds on your thoughts. Kyle Tucker to L.A.
My thoughts on Kyle Tucker to LA in 30 seconds. I think it's the worst thing that could have happened to baseball. I said this last year whenever they were signing other big players. It's just, if you don't watch baseball, then this doesn't matter to you. But if you do watch baseball, well, you're not going to watch it next year. This team's just stacking up players, and I think this is the first time we've ever seen a sport collapse within itself, literally destroy itself from what's within. Yes, they have Ohtani. Yes, that's a big deal. Yes, he probably did bet and put it all on his translator, besides the point. But this is the first time, in my opinion, we've seen a major sport ruin itself.
Yeah, it's not fun to watch. Greatness is fun. Greatness is great. I love greatness. The people of the world who really hate Tom Brady and the Patriots and, they were so insufferable. Like, man, at some point, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Taylor Swift, you sit back and you go, yep. Yeah, that is greatness. And there is beauty in greatness. The Dodgers are not greatness. They have ruined the integrity of the game with what they're doing to baseball. I'm not mad at you, Dodgers fans. Guess what? If you're in L.A. right now, you're listening to the show thinking, we didn't ruin it. I'm not upset. You shouldn't feel guilty as a fan. You should enjoy the hell out of this. You should enjoy your team's winning. Continue to gloat. You have complete permission to do so. Then there's that college scandal. This is we're going to talk about this over the course of the show today. This is a blurb from the affidavit on or about March 4th, 2024. By the way, if you're new to this, I'm Drake Toll, the Drake Toll Show, Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app. If you're new to this, it's 15 some odd players in the NCAA caught up in the largest point shaving scandal of all time. This happened yesterday, came down the pipeline yesterday. And the report reads, on or about March 4th, 2024, around halftime of the game between South Carolina State and Coppin State. when the score of the game was tied, defendant Jalen Smith texted person number 13. Defendant Smith expressed his concern about the score of the game and urged person number 13 to underperform in the second half so that South Carolina State would cover the spread. These are the real texts that he sent mid-game, received by the player that's supposed to be point shaving at halftime. Text reads, WTF, it need to be a blowout. You hooping yo ass off. WTF. You supposed to be losing. You cost us money. Get blown out next half, bro. Person number 13 responded to the defendant in a text message. That's crazy. Mid-game, these guys were getting texts from the brokers this whole deal, the pimps. These college basketball players, pimps, that are saying, we need you to do differently. We need you to lose more. Make it more believable. It's not good, man. It's not good. And lastly, before we hop into Mike Tomlin, college football. Addie, did you have any idea that Mark Ingram was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame this week?
I knew Mark Ingram was because, shocker, he's a Saints legend. Anybody else? No.
Yeah, how would you have known? They hid it. It was a secret to the world.
Do you know what's funny is I looked up College Football Hall of Fame, and the first things that popped up was like, how to get to the Hall of Fame. Like, this is the Hall of Fame. It did not even say, like, hey, these are the people who were inducted this year. No, it was just giving me, this is where the Hall of Fame is. So I had to go, inductees. And then I had to do even more digging. It wasn't just there. That was probably the worst marketed Hall of Fame induction I've ever seen across any sport.
Yeah, it's pretty big Hall of Fame, too. That's reputable. You should probably... one of my mentors, probably 3 or 4 years ago, get this, Addie, he was inducted into the, ready? Drum roll, please. We don't have drum roll. Think about a drum roll in your head. He was inducted into the Western Pennsylvania Jewish Sports Hall of Fame.
Let's go.
Yep. That's a thing. The Western Pennsylvania Jewish Sports Hall of Fame. If you live in Eastern Pennsylvania, get lost. This Jewish Sports Hall of Fame is not for you. Central Pennsylvania, we'll think about it. That's one of my favorite ones. Coach Gary Patterson.
Drake Toll.
What?
Do you want to know? Almost as cool as the College Football Hall of Fame. If you go to the Bowling Hall of Fame in Arlington, you look around, you'll see my name in there for something.
Wow, Addie Bates
in there.
In the Bowling Hall of Fame. Do you want to tell the people why?
Or something. Yeah, so no, actually. Yes, you know what? We will. It was literally just it's a ranking on different things that you can do at the ITRC, which is a training center there. It's a ranking with like all the top like scores or top things for different stuff. And in there's a bunch of pros. Then you see Addie Bates when I was in high school.
Can you, hold on.
Pretty big deal.
Unpack this for me like I'm 5. Why are you in the Bowling Sports Hall of Fame? Can you, with fewer acronyms, please? I don't know what's going on.
So Drake Toll is 5. Addie did good thing at this training center where all the pros go.
Yeah.
There are rankings of like scores.
Right.
Series. You know what a score is in bowling? Like a 300 is the highest score you can get.
Yeah. I got that, yeah.
Different exercises. Addie did well. So Addie on board with all of these pros.
Yeah, man. All right.
Kind of a big deal.
You know, I'll say it. Usually I wouldn't care. But because it's you and because you're passionate about it, I care a lot. And I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Haven't heard that in a long time, so I need that.
You're welcome. The College Football Hall of Fame did include Gary Patterson. GP! This is a fun one. Ever heard of Bram Kohlhauser? Does that name ring a bell to you, Addie?
Nope.
That's fine. Bram Kohlhauser was a TCU quarterback who didn't really get to play pretty much at all. 2014, 2015. He was not in the fold a ton. Bram was the guy, you'll remember, TCU was trailing Oregon 31-0 in the Alamo Bowl. Gary Patterson changed his shirts at halftime, and the TCU Horned Frogs rally from 31-0 down to Oregon and win the game. Bram Kohlhauser becomes a TCU legend. He was the quarterback of the Frogs for the bowl game. Pretty awesome, right? Well, at the Hall of Fame event celebration for Coach Patterson, earlier this week. Guess it would have been Wednesday night. Bram is there. And he's like he's grabbing onto a bar stool, grabs onto the bar. Like he's walking around there. And I've got a buddy with me, and the buddy goes, I think he's really drunk. Kind of stumbling around and stuff. I was like, oh, it's probably good you didn't say that out loud. Addie, 3 years ago, Bram Kohlhauser fell 80 feet out of a helicopter and survived. He did lose both of his legs. Those were amputated. And so, obviously, not drunk. I mean, I don't know, but not drunk. Just holding on to the bar because, hey, it's probably hard to maneuver with 2 prosthetic legs, as Bram Kohlhauser now does. And thankfully, my buddy did not say, like, to Bram Kohlhauser or the bartender, hey, this guy's had a few too many. Get him out of here. We got to get him out of here.
Biggest winner of the day, Bram for surviving. Biggest loser, his legs.
Pretty awesome.
That's unfortunate.
Coach P was like, hey, Drake, come over here, meet Bram. I was like, yeah, I know the name. Shake his hand. And Coach goes, this is the knucklehead that fell 77 feet out of a helicopter.
I got no legs, Lieutenant Dan.
It made me think. There are some things in life that, look, I haven't lost both legs. I haven't fallen out of a helicopter yet, allegedly. And it makes me think there have to be some of those things where you survive, and there's almost a bit of humor to it, where you're like, wow, damn, I lived. You know, there is that level of miracle, 77 feet, and you're still alive. Like, it's just such an unbelievable story. You do get a slight chuckle out of it. You get like there's an air of looseness to it, and Bram and Coach. But the fact he's a couple years later joking about it as this is the knucklehead who fell 80 feet out of a helicopter is wild. You wouldn't be like, oh, this is the knucklehead.
Has he been on a helicopter since?
I don't know. He was doing the hunting thing where you shoot pigs with automatic rifles or something. I think that's what it was. And so those are really dangerous because the windows and doors and all that are open. I'm not sure if he's been back on the helicopter.
Yeah, I've played Call of Duty.
Yeah, I wouldn't tempt fate twice there if I'm Bram Kohlhauser. But also, you don't introduce your buddy who survived leukemia with, this is that knucklehead who went and got himself leukemia. Like, no, that would be crass, right? But if your buddy survives falling 77 feet, you're like, yeah, look at this guy. Oh, this goober.
That's absolutely insane.
That's pretty crazy, man. That's pretty crazy. I don't care
Idiot
who
of the
you
day.
are. That visual is nuts. And he lived. I met him. He's
Falling
alive.
out of a helicopter with a firearm in your hand.
Yeah.
And you're not like in World War II or the Vietnam War.
There have been
You're
other
shooting pigs.
wars where you could have fallen out of a helicopter. Why are you just narrowing it down to that?
Okay, yeah, the great Wild Hog War of West Texas.
Damn, I'm going to shoot you straight. That sounds so cool.
It's like the Great Emu War of Australia.
They did
You
have
heard
the
about
Emu
that?
War. Yeah, or Hannibal.
Yeah.
Used the elephants a lot. It was awesome, by the way.
See that West Texas, they're actually they're gonna side with the Wild Hogs. We're gonna use those in future.
I
wars.
believe Hannibal was going through the mountains of like Nepal. So if we're talking about, what's weirder, elephants in Nepal or elephants in West Texas? Kind of, it's comparable for sure.
Wild Hogs, Hogs in West Texas.
Just so many storylines today across sports, and we can't pick a favorite, but Mike Tomlin is certainly in there. When we come back, Chris Mack, return of the Mack, tells us why Mike Tomlin leaving Pittsburgh is the right move and why Aaron Rodgers sobbed, cried. This is Westwood One Sports app, and the Drake Cole Show. Sponsored by Robinhood. Your money, your move. The Miami Hurricanes and Ole Miss Rebels square off tonight in the college football playoff. Look for the defensive line of the Canes to be the difference. Trinidad Chambliss is a great quarterback at Ole Miss, but the defense of the U has only allowed 17 points combined in their 2 playoff games. I'm riding with Miami. I'm Drake Toll. Sponsored by Wrangler. Shop Wrangler.com for new denim styles to kickstart your day. Wrangler, for the ride of life. John Harbaugh receiving interest from at least 7 NFL franchises to become their next head coach, but he will not take interviews until next week. Could he be waiting on another high-profile job to open up? I think so. Or maybe it's just the Giants. I'm Drake Toll. With John Harbaugh out in Baltimore, the search begins for a new head coach for the Ravens. And as for Harbaugh, he will not take any interviews for a new head coaching job until next week. There's a great chance he's waiting on another high-profile opportunity after the wild card weekend. Or is he just giving the New York Giants time to sweeten their deal? They're the odds-on favorite to land him. I'm Drake Toll.
You know how it is. If my aunt had male parts, she'd be my uncle.
Yeah. Let's go. Drake Toll, the Drake Toll Show. Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app. Drake Toll with you. Savannah Bananas organization, Locked On Big 12. Amazon Fire TV's college football kickoff. I got a call yesterday from a buddy in college. Haven't talked to this guy in 2 years. Cold called me. He's been married. His wife's pregnant. I knew that from social media. You see that. This is the same guy that he told us all one time that he'd lost his cat. His cat had gotten loose. And we spent hours in the car, hours driving around the neighborhood, like 3 or 4 different vehicles. He's like, I'm in my car. I'm driving around a different side of town. If you guys can help me, all to find out it was fake. He never lost his cat. It was just a big elaborate prank to waste all of our time. He called me yesterday. You know what he said? He said that this segment's sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance. It protects small businesses with affordable coverage options. Quote today at progressivecommercial.com. That's progressivecommercial.com. Mike Tomlin is out as the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers on the same day that Kyle Tucker is in the Los Angeles Dodgers. May have missed that last night, but the rich, get richer. Aaron Rodgers sobbed. That's the quote. He sobbed and apologized during Mike Tomlin's final team meeting. Wow. Mike DeFabo of TheAthletic.com shared a lot of details, including that TJ Watt said, no. I couldn't believe that it was real. Players love him, man. Look, there have been some lovable guys in history. I told you about General McClellan in the Civil War. He was the leader of the Union Army. That whole debacle was a debacle. He wasn't good. They called him Lil Mac, though. McClellan would walk around, and every time he'd walk through, ride through on his horse into camp, they'd all cheer and play music, and long live the king. But he sucked as a general. I'm not saying Mike Tomlin sucks as a head coach, but I don't think that likability should be – you should not wake up today as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan and think, oh, we did the wrong thing because the players liked him. Jason Garrett's a nice guy. My grandma's a nice gal. It doesn't make them both good NFL coaches. Do not feel like there's some mentally you're warring with something here because, oh no, Mike Tomlin was so nice. Should we have moved on? That should not be the reason. You can be upset that Tomlin is gone because of what he did, what he could build, the fact that he has had a lack of star power on offense. Right, there is a large portion of this on the ownership, on management, for a glaring lack of offensive talent the last decade that Tomlin has been there. Like, what do you mean glaring? Look at the quarterback list. Dude is carrying some of the most – Kenny Pickett, some of the most insane names to winning records and playoff berths. Like, yes, this is nuts what he's doing with so little. But he couldn't win the big game, and they didn't want to give him the team to win the big games. Now they move on. They prepare to lose. Here's what Chris Mack, the Pittsburgh insider, who came on the Drake Toll show this week, had to say about Mike Tomlin out in Pittsburgh.
While I think it was put best, Trey Essex, who played for Mike Tomlin, won a couple of Super Bowls here in Pittsburgh. I talked to him last night, and he said, I'm shocked but not surprised, if that makes any sense. And I think that's the feeling a lot of people around the team and in Pittsburgh have. Shocked that the Pittsburgh Steelers would, for the first time in nearly 2 decades, find themselves in a coaching search, but not surprised at the same time that it finally did come to an end. I thought it would take more initiative from Art Rooney II, the owner, to sit down Mike Tomlin and have a hard conversation with him. I said that yesterday, filling in for Costos on You Better You Bet. In fact, it ended up being Mike Tomlin's decision and something that obviously he had been ruminating on for a while. You don't wake up the morning after a loss in the wild card round and decide to hang it up after 19 years. Clearly, it was something he'd been thinking of for a while. You would think all the way back to training camp in Latrobe. So, and that smoke had existed and had really started to go from, oh, is something burning in the toaster to, oh my God, there's smoke in the corner of the room. Since that Buffalo loss. And so there was reason to believe there were flames behind it. So that's why people are surprised, not surprised or shocked or however you want to phrase it, taken aback by it just because of the shock of, oh my God, the Steelers are head coach, but not necessarily surprised that Mike Tomlin did decide to walk away after 9 years of not winning a playoff game and 7 consecutive postseason losses.
9 years, 0 playoff wins. Ugh. And I think Chris Mack, Pittsburgh Steelers insider, nailed that this was a decision not made in haste, and Tomlin has been thinking about it. And it came down from Mike Tomlin. I told you on the show, and I still believe this, that even if you don't want to consider it completely mutual, at least a piece of this was from the Steelers' ownership, leadership, just not being willing to keep Mike Tomlin. I don't think when Tomlin sat down and said, hey, I'm out, deuces, the conversation was, no, please stay, we need you. It doesn't sound like that was the case. This was not entirely mutual. It came from Tomlin, no doubt. But as much as Mike Tomlin wanted to do this and initiate this, I'm not so sure the Steelers were altogether upset. All right, well, thanks. 9 years. No playoff wins in those 9 years. 7 consecutive playoff losses. All right, well, see you later. Thank you. And Rondé Barber, per WFLA, said that Pittsburgh coach Mike Tomlin is done coaching for good. That would be the true bombshell out of all of this. For those who've said he'll go into TV for a year, he'll come back, the Steelers can use him as a trade piece. If they lose that trade piece, they're going to lose valuable draft asset. A valuable trade asset that could get them draft assets. You're going to lose that if Tomlin says, I'm hanging it up and I'm doing it forever. That's a bigger blow. That is a bigger blow than Mike Tomlin stepping down altogether. Because here's the deal. If Tomlin was still, oh my gosh, can I cook for a second? You tell your friends this. You say, I was listening. You don't even have to say you were listening to the Drake Toll Show. You can make them think it was an original thought. You tell your friends, if Mike Tomlin was the head coach of the Steelers next season, they would have gone 9-8, 10-7, and lost in the first round of the postseason. And you would have said, yep, that's that. It would have lost to New England and the wild card. All right, 8 in a row. Now what do we do? And I think that's why the Steelers probably did not fight for Mike Tomlin to be back. And that's okay. But if he's done, if he retires, and you lose the opportunity to trade him away for a first-round, second-round draft pick to a desperate organization out there, hey, Cardinals, Raiders want to stack up on draft picks. And you could imagine those two organizations could use a coach to bring them in. They'd be all over that, right? It's what Pittsburgh can do. But if Tomlin's done, that opportunity is done as well. Across the country, headline. A million things going on right now. And up next, there are a million idiots, losers, obituarying needed people in the world, things that have died today. I turn on the radio. This is a very good tweet from Addie Bates, the producer of the Drake Toll Show. Says, tuned into WFAN out of New York to hear some reaction to the Harbaugh hiring. But Carton was talking about how no one makes adult movies anymore, like the naked kind. His admiration for Peter North and how his grandparents accidentally took him to a drive-in adult naked movie in the 70s. A+ talk radio. That is. I had a station on listening yesterday. And, we have, 4 NFL games this weekend, National Championship Monday. That one guy who plays the Maple Leafs played against the Knights last night. Addie, you know that one. And it was funny to tune into a radio station here. The guys came back and they're like, hey, yeah, big card show in Dallas today. Yeah, there is a big card show in Dallas. Like, yep, let's talk about those cards. It's like, why not, man? Let's do that. And that led into a conversation about Chase Utley. Hall of Fame, yes or no? Chase Utley, Hall of Fame, yes or no, was the question posed. I was like, man, am I being too serious in the morning show? Am I talking too much about sports? Let's let it become chaos. Addie, 30 seconds. What is this hockey thing I keep seeing? The Maple Leafs guy and the Knights guy.
So Mitch Marner used to play. Do you know who Mitch Marner is?
Of course. He good friends with my uncle.
Of course he is. Well, he used to play for the Maple Leafs. Like, he was a lifelong Maple Leaf. And then he went to the Knights. So this is their like their first time playing one another. It's kind of like when Stamkos went to Nashville and he came back to Tampa Bay for the first time, when you've been with a team for a very long time, and it's kind of like a homecoming coming back. And so like Austin Matthews, like there was just some chatter because everybody was like, oh, what's this going to be like? And he was like, I've had enough of like all these like Mitch Marner questions. That's literally what it was like a homecoming.
How does this relate to the new hit TV show Heated Rivalry?
I've never seen this. Okay. I've never seen this. All my friends keep bringing it up. I know what it's about. It's like some fanfic of like a love between like, I think it's like Sidney Crosby and Alex Ovechkin. I don't really watch that. So maybe Curtis watches that. I don't know, but that's what I've heard from it.
Yikes. All right. Dig into Curtis. Jeez. He runs the board in Culver City, California. Yeah, it's like smut, but on my TV screen for hockey. Like, all right, cool. Up next, around the bend. Oh, obituaries. Who's dead today? I can tell you. Sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance. Quote today, progressive.com, progressivecommercial.com, progressivecommercial.com. This is the Drake Toll Show.
This is Westwood One Sports.
Gathered in their masses, just like witches at black masses. Evil minds that plot destruction, sorcerer of death's construction. In the fields of bodies burning, as the war machine keeps turning, death and hatred to mankind, poisoning their brainwashed minds. Oh Lord, yeah.
darkness world stops turning. Ashes where the body's burning. No more war pigs have the power. And as God has struck the hour, day of judgment God is calling. On the knees the war.
That's good right there.
So I gained the courage and looked him in the face. Oh, once again, Flower Johnson's on the fence. Ooh,
Briscoe, the pride of Austin, Texas. That's for you today, Addie. Everyone's get that band, when you went to college, you were in high school, your young adult life, you just saw live so conveniently 15 times. That was Briscoe for us, $10 concerts, you get the band, go have a couple beers. Yeah. Oh, what is that? Yeah, me, I did beers in college. I was cool. Yeah, no doubt. Yes, Addie?
Say the pride of Austin, Texas.
I did say that.
That was my nickname in high school.
Really? When?
Yeah, still is. Always. When will it not be? Come
no.
on, Drake.
When did I ask?
Are you 12?
Do it, Curtis. The Wilhelm scream. Perfect
No,
opportunity.
Curtis.
Yeah, it's perfect opportunity for it.
God, you're 12. You're 12.
Yeah, no doubt.
Check your emails.
Drake Toll, the Drake Toll Show, Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app. Curtis Poindexter does run the board in Culver City, California. Addie Bates produces the Drake Toll Show from Washington, D.C., the nation's capital.
Sadly.
And it is time for our obituaries. These people and or things have died today. The first being Marcus Freeman's pride. Here is what Marcus Freeman had to say to his team, this is per HBO, to his team about the Pop-Tarts Bowl and deciding to opt out of a bowl game after being left out of the playoff.
Do you want to be an NFL head coach someday, and can you see that for yourself?
Want to be? I mean, I don't really. I've never done it. I don't know if it will. I don't know enough about it. It may be sometime in the future if it's the right time and it's what I think is right for me. Then maybe I'll pursue it. But I don't love wasting time thinking about things that aren't right in front of me. And so I don't know what I'll want in however many length of time, how much length of time from now. I don't know. But I know right now that I am as convicted and motivated to be in the best head coach of the Notre Dame football program as I can be.
However many length of time. We'll go there first. Mark, he's on the obituaries multiple times today. This one is, as you just heard, for him being a head coach. We are mourning the 48-hour career of Marcus Freeman as an NFL head coach that has died today. The response he gave, I'm not buying it. I still think the Pittsburgh Steelers could make the right offer. The Pittsburgh Steelers could offer him $15 million a year, and with what's happening at Notre Dame, them getting left out of the playoff, and I know he's pouted and gotten his way, but them getting left out of the playoff, opting out, kind of the egg on my face vibe that has been around that program for the last few months, I would not be surprised if you just hit the reset button, the restart button, and go to the NFL. There'll be jobs that want Marcus Freeman as their head coach. Would not shock me in the slightest if he still makes that move, because coaches lie. Sorry. whatever age you are, it's time that we accept that. It's time that you know that. Coaches lie. And they have to an extent, right? They lie in the context of, hey, coach, will you be leaving this job? And they always say, my focus is on North Texas. My focus is on Tulane. That's not. They leave. They always leave. It's what happens. If we have it, the obituary of him, his pride, on the Pop-Tarts Bowl, Marcus Freeman, his team not playing in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Here's what he had to say about that decision.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the Pop-Tart Bowl that I thought that, but maybe it was the first round of the playoffs. I was like, man, I wish we were playing. And then the second round and the third round, and I'm sure a national championship game, I'll think that. But no, I don't second guess the decision we made. I'm proud of our leadership. I'm proud of our captains because of how they came to that decision. And they had the full support of myself and our administration to make that final decision. And as I said, I'm sure in the follow doc, it wasn't an emotional decision, right? Maybe the first time was, I don't know, but I challenged them again. And I challenged them again right up till we had to make, okay, we have 1 minute to make this decision. I'm going to ask you one more time. And I'm going to talk to the leaders. Are you guys sure this is what we want to do? Because I didn't want them to. Right? And they were convicted in their decision, and I fully support them.
Yeah, Lamar could tell the Ravens who to hire as the next head coach, the organization, of that franchise. It doesn't mean you have to do that. If 4 or 5 of your team captains or something, they'd say, hey, we want to quit, we want to give up. You're the head coach. You run the program. Marcus Freeman let his team quit their season. He admitted they quit the USC rivalry. They quit the Michigan rivalry. Quit the Michigan State rivalry. Next year, they're going to play 9 losing teams. That's just silly. It's getting old. Our next obituary, Jameis Winston's celibacy. Yeah, he said yesterday he did not have relations, fornications, consummations during the entirety of the NFL regular season this year. He remained celibate, which is, Addie Bates, producer of the Drake Toll Show. Am I allowed to say those words? Give me the FCC update there.
Yeah, I think you can say those.
Permission granted.
Those sound good.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes when you have the thought of those libations, you got to let out some frustrations. That's what you do. And Jameis Winston did not do that all year. Which leads me to believe he comes from a generation that has not been tainted by the FanDuel bet insurance. That man has all of his testosterone, as opposed to the current sports bettors who, because of FanDuel insurance, no longer have testosterone in this give me immediate dopamine hit society we live in. Good for you, Jameis Winston, for not being scarred and marred by the FanDuel bet insurance. Here's one. Say goodbye. Today we mourn keeping your identity? So, yesterday, Pete Nakos of On3 tweets, Ole Miss linebacker T.J. Daugherty entered the transfer portal. Former Clemson transfer, 174 tackles, 10 tackles for loss, da-da-da-da. Someone quote tweets, isn't this actually T.J. Dudley? Not T.J. Daugherty. T.J. Dudley, who was rumored to have taken pictures of Clemson players in the locker room and was making money off of it? He's still playing, but changed his name? And then the Blue-Orange Gators like, that's actually exactly what happened. It's the same picture on the website. Has the exact same rank, number 147 in his class. 2021 Alabama Sports Writers Association Player of the Year. Has all the same accolades. Montgomery Catholic Preparatory, all the same accolades. But he just, after scandal where he allegedly took pictures of Clemson players in the locker room and sold them. He is still in college football, allegedly, but has gone from TJ Daugherty to TJ Dudley, or vice versa. That's bad. That's bad. All of this is, of course, alleged, but come on. Read between the lines. Final obituary of the day. The Manning Cast? Manning Cast used to routinely garner 1.5 million viewers. This is per Awful Announcing. This season, averaged a little over 800,000, often drew 600,000. That's half. That's half the viewership. What does the future look like for the Monday Night Football Altcast? Could we see the end of the Manning Cast? I'm not sure if I've watched the Manning Cast in years, by the way. So that's it. Those are our obituaries for the day. Time for the quickie. Good morning. 5 headlines, top 5 headlines of the day. All right, you ready? You ready? Wow, we're jumping into this. Okay, hit me.
Yeah, we're going to start with college football. Oklahoma quarterback John Mateer is going to return for the final season.
Yeah, man. If he stays healthy, he's a good quarterback. He was very fun to watch at Oklahoma. He is not he's not an elite talent. He is not a player who is going to lead them to a national championship. But he is a good college football player. I enjoyed watching him. Oklahoma was different without him. Is he going to be a star one day in the NFL? No. Is he a good college quarterback? Is this a good move for Oklahoma? Yes. They continue to build up their coaching staff. Jason Witten was officially signed on yesterday as their tight ends coach. Just cool. I think OU is making the right moves around Brent Venables, their head coach. But I do believe ultimately, here, clip this. In 3 years, he will no longer be the coach at Oklahoma. They will have moved in a different direction. I think OU fans still have that. They have some angst in there of just, hey, we're not winning at the level we want to. And even when we did win this year, we got a home playoff game against a team that we'd just beaten on the road, and we lost. Like, that hurts. That's not fun. So I think Oklahoma, John Mateer, this is just a good little holdover for the next couple of years until Brent is no longer the head man in Norman. That's a minute.
I mean, if you're a Texas fan, this is such great news. I'm so glad John Mateer's back. He played so well against Texas. Let's move on to the NFL, though.
He was hurt.
The Eagles GM, you know what? Put your pride aside. Let your backup play, okay? Put your pride aside.
Yeah.
Not a team player. Sorry.
Wow.
Yeah, well, just saying. Speaking facts, Howie Roseman, the Eagles, downplays A.J. Brown trade talk, says Eagles wide receiver is a great player.
Yeah. I liked the full quote that he gave. Like, it's a great player. They're hard to come by. They're hard to find. We love great players. Just complete non-answer. Didn't say anything. How do you go from winning the Super Bowl and not even, like, some teams win the Super Bowl or go to the Super Bowl, a la like Carolina when they went. It's kind of, you knew this could be lightning in a bottle. Is Carolina going to be this next year? They weren't. They weren't the same. The Eagles they're not a flash in the pan type thing. They won the Super Bowl and brought everybody back. And now it's a disaster in Philadelphia. Luckily, they have Sinatra-styled Fly Eagles Fly to fall back on. That's a minute.
Yeah, if there's anything, if you can't win, at least have a cool song, and it's this one.
I don't hate it.
Let's move back to baseball.
Baseball,
no,
okay.
It's great. No, it's great. Yeah, according to MLB Network Radio's Jim Duquette, good friend of mine, fun coworker, the Mets offered Tucker a 4-year contract worth $220 million, and he said no.
I mean, in your 20s, you will be offered a contract either to play for the Mets for $200 million or the Dodgers for $200 million. It's very important you play for the Dodgers. Like, look. I get what the Mets are trying to do. The Dodgers are just beating them at that game so badly. They are bludgeoning the Mets, who said, fine, we'll go spend $1 billion on a roster. Whatever, we'll do the same thing as you, the Dodgers. Here's the problem. You're not as sexy as L.A. You don't have back-to-back titles. If I am a Major League Baseball player and I want to win, and I want to win a ring, I want to hoist the trophy, I want to shake Rob Manfred's hand and say, thank you, Rob, for letting me win your league. It was very fun. I'm going to play for the LA Dodgers. I'm not going to play for the Mets. That's what's happening. If you want to win and go to an organization that wants to win paramount and does win, it's LA. As much as that sucks for the rest of baseball, because now, you said it and I researched it in the break, the lockout in 2027 is looming. And on top of that, I don't think anybody – we love greatness. We don't love paid greatness. And the Dodgers have like $2.1 billion guaranteed on their roster right now, and that's more than the GDP of most cities. So and for that reason, I'm out on playing for the Mets or the Dodgers. Somebody go play with the Oakland A's, please. That's a minute.
They're not even in Oakland.
Well, they're not in Vegas either. They don't really know where they are.
They're in Sacramento right now. The Sacramento A's.
Nope, trademarked.
That's okay. Chiefs Patrick Mahomes says, I want to be ready for week 1.
Hey, if my aunt had male parts, she'd be my uncle. There are another hypothetical win for the SEC. Yeah, man, Pat. Look, I'm rooting for you. I hope you're ready for week 1. But I said it, I think, 3 weeks ago on this show. I do not believe that will be the case. I do not think Mahomes will be ready at the start of the year. Certainly not for the preseason, and I do not believe he'll be ready game 1. That's okay. That's okay. We'll learn. We will learn next year specifically if the window on the dynasty is closed. If we saw the dynasty, we liked it, it was fun, and now it is closed. But people forget. People forget, Addy. Tom Brady went 9 years without winning a Super Bowl. 9 years where you thought the dynasty was done. They were effectively in 2 parts. Dynasty in 2 parts for Tom Brady. Could that be what the Chiefs do? Are they in the middle of their drought, and then Mahomes at, 35 years old picks it back up, plays till he's 44, and makes a mockery of the league? Obviously, he's not 9 years from being 35, but you get what I'm going for. That's a minute. It's over a minute.
Here's your final one. 49er star Fred Warner ruled out for playoff game against Seattle, but could return if the team advances.
And do you know why he's ruled out?
Injury.
Nope. There is an electromagnetic plant next to the team's football stadium, and it is rotting the bones, the tendons. It's rotting the brains of each of these 49ers players. An investigation must be done into the electromagnetic facility that sits next to Levi's Stadium. It is killing people, Addy, and they're playing the Super. Do you understand how many ACLs are going to be torn in the Super Bowl because of the electromagnetic facility? Do you understand what we're dealing with right now? Why is no one talking about this?
So in short, he's injured.
And you know why?
Because he fractured his ankle.
Nope. The electromagnetic facility is weakening the bones. Also, Kennedy was shot by the government, and the moon landing was fake. And the electromagnetic field is killing the 49ers. Those are my 3 takes today. That's go to your water cooler in the office and give them that. See what they say. Addy Bates.
Helen Keller never existed. She could talk.
There's just no way. Yeah, there's really no way that I mean, it's a great story. It's the Washington cherry tree thing. You're telling me Helen Keller walked this earth? That's crazy. That's Addy Bates, producer of the Drake Toll Show. There you go. From the Quickie to Progressive Commercial Insurance. Yeah, the Quickie is sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance, protecting your business and vehicles 24/7. See if you can save at progressivecommercial.com. Progressivecommercial.com. Coming up, our idiot of the day, charged in a point-shaving scheme, the greatest of all time in college basketball. This is the Drake Toll Show.
lost, aren't we?
Could be worse.
How could this be worse? This is worse.
Drake Toll with you, the Drake Toll Show, Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app. You can be involved in the Drake Toll Show. Call or text 310-840-4910, 310-840-4910. Hi. Drake Toll. It's time for our Idiot of the Day.
Idiot of the Day.
There are so very very idiots that fall into this one story, but it's awesome. Before I completely dive in, by the way, I think we all are the first idiot of the day for allowing Kyle Tucker to be a Dodger, and now the Dodgers are even better at baseball. That was a story you may have missed last night while you were sleeping. I hope if you're up this early, you were sleeping when Kyle Tucker signed through free agency with Los Angeles. Addy Bates, our resident MLB expert, 30 seconds. What does this mean for the league?
It means that we will not have baseball in 2027. So if you like baseball, well, sorry, you're not getting that. Find something else to watch in the summer. July 4th, what are you going to do? Go out there with fireworks? Any sports you're going to watch? No. Maybe Summer League if that's what you're into. Maybe tennis. Yeah. Ooh, tennis. That's a ball and a racket. That's close enough to baseball, I believe. But, yeah, small market teams can't catch up, and Dodgers are just ruining the sport. The evil empire, one might say.
Wow. Addy is a fan of the Houston Astros, one of those scrappy small market teams. Bootstraps.
Hey, everybody, you're welcome. You're welcome, guys.
Yeah.
You needed us. Look at that. We're the good guys now taking down the Dodgers.
People keep telling me, they say, Addie's so dramatic. You know, she's just kind of a dramatic person. And I'm like, no, she's not. Mm-hmm. She's not the kind of person who ever come on a radio show and say, yes, baseball is dead and will not be played in 2027.
No, I would never say that.
No.
I would never do that. Unless you listen to the Drake Toll Show at 7:25 in the morning. Then I would say that. Any other time, I wouldn't say that.
Idiots of the day. The Browns, the Dolphins, all those guys for not landing John Harbaugh. Again, there's still the side of this where it's not guaranteed he's going to win wherever he goes. Obviously. Not guaranteed. Like, Mike McCarthy won a lot in Dallas. He just couldn't win in the postseason. Do we know that this move for the Giants is going to win them games, especially in the postseason right away? No, of course not. But they're getting a guy who's won a Super Bowl, who's won a lot of games, who has been dominant in the regular season, continued to make the playoffs, and that is a win. But how, if you're Miami, warm weather Miami, how, if you are Arizona, how do you let this guy walk? Not that he, you really did literally let him walk. But how do you lose out to the Giants? How do the New York Football Giants get this guy in their facility and you couldn't? Sickening. But our biggest idiot of the day, I want to give this one a lot of time because it's intricate. CBS Sports headline says college basketball players among 26 charged by FBI in connection with point shaving and fixing outcome of games. Federal prosecutors charged 26 people on Thursday, several former current college basketball players, in an alleged point shaving scheme. Division I teams fixed and attempted to fix over 29 games. Listen to this. If you are going to try to make money illegally via gambling, point shaving, paying the refs, maybe be a little bit smarter than this. They thought they created the best heist sports have ever seen. Per Pete Thamel, listen to this. Among the wagers listed in the indictment. So let's take it back. Let's go to ground zero here. There are men, human beings, who are calling college basketball players and saying, I'll give you X amount of dollars if you'll lose this game. If you can assure me you will not cover the spread and you will lose this game, I will give you money. Those players said yes, and now they're all wrapped up in this. Pete Thamel tweets, among the wagers listed in the indictment, approximately $458,000 on Towson to beat UNC A&T. Here's the deal. If you put $458,000 on the Super Bowl, less people are looking at that and questioning it. Because there are some major wagers on the Super Bowl. But when FanDuel or BetMGM or Caesars or any of these sports books see that $458,000 were put on Towson and UNC A&T, did you know, you need to know this, there are real humans behind these books that see that, it's flagged immediately, and they go, someone's cheating. And they were. Because not only did they do that, they said, this heist is even better if we put $424,000 on Kent State to cover the first half spread against Buffalo. $275,000 on South Alabama to cover the first half spread against Southern Miss. $256,000 Northern Kentucky to cover first half against Robert Morris. $161,000 Louisiana Lafayette to cover the first half spread against Southern Miss. It'd be different if you'd heard of these teams. If it wasn't Northern Kentucky, South Alabama, Louisiana Lafayette, and Southern Miss. It'd be different if it was Ohio State playing Indiana in basketball and someone put $100,000 on it. Like, yeah, maybe. That's more believable. But no one's doing it on these small games. And it went further than that. A six-figure bet, $168,300 on the Guangdong Southern Tigers. There's greed. And then there's $168,000 on the Guangdong Southern Tigers. And an attempted $50,000 wager at a casino in Kentucky on Southern Mississippi to beat Alabama State. It's a great tweet from Max Hoffmeyer. Hey, guys, let's keep it a little small. We don't want to raise any red flags, all right? Yeah? Well, give me $168K on the Guangdong Southern Tigers. That's the situation we've created for ourselves in this point-shaving scandal. And we will see over a dozen players, it looks like, who were involved or allegedly involved in this, over a dozen players be wrapped up in this. Former LSU player Antonio Blakeney was a star for the Chinese Basketball Association's Dragons, per investigations, fixed games overseas. This isn't new. We've seen fixing before. Other conspirators recruited a litany of mid and low major college basketball players to fix the outcome of first half totals and overall games. This is again per CBS. Players at small schools who are not making big money in NIL, allegedly accepted deals of $10,000 to $30,000 to intentionally compromise games. Oh, yeah, I'm playing for DePaul. I'm playing for Southern Miss. I'm playing for Alabama State. I'm playing for the Guangdong Tigers. I can forfeit this. I'm good. I don't need it. It's like, whatever. Give me $10,000. Give me $30,000. What's better is we have quotes. The alleged text messages between these pimps, these college basketball pimps, and the players who they are paying. This is directly from the report. On or about March 4th, 2024, around halftime of the game between South Carolina State and Coppin State, when the score of the game was tied, not good for the pimps. When the score of the game was tied, defendant Jalen Smith texted person number 13. Defendant Smith expressed his concern about the score of the game and urged person number 13 to underperform in the second half so that South Carolina State would cover the spread. So he's texting a Coppin State player during the game. And here are the texts. WTF you doing? What the F are you doing? It need to be a blowout. You hooping your ass off. Imagine, this guy's watching probably on ESPN Plus or YouTube. Coppin State, South Carolina State pacing because he's got $100,000 on it. And he cannot believe that this kid he's paying $10,000 is playing so hard. You hooping your ass off. That's so good. WTF. You supposed to be effing losing. You costing us money. Get your ass blown out in the next half, bro. Person number 13 responded to Smith with this text message after the game and explained that South Carolina State was playing so poorly. Listen to this. He responded to the text after the game. South Carolina State was playing so poorly, it was difficult for person 13 to ensure Coppin State lose the game by more points than the spread. He sent to the pimp, this is so good. He said, they so ass, I couldn't even keep the lead together. I'm sorry for that, bro. I tried to tell my teammates to chill and all that, bro. Swear I tried everything in my power in the second half. Can you imagine being so bad at basketball the other team is trying to purposely throw the game and you still lose? That's what happened here. The guy's halftime's like, please stop winning the game. We have tens of thousands of dollars on this college basketball game. And you player are playing it. You're playing too hard. Please lose. And the guy's response is, the other team is so bad, we physically couldn't lose. That's really hard to hear. And it's crazy to think that South Carolina is taking some extreme strays in this entire gambling scandal. Again, if you want to make a lot of money in this world, there are ways to do it. If you want to do it illegally, I can't stop you. I'm not here to stop you. I don't even know how I would stop you. But do not put $458,000 on a basketball game featuring teams like NC&T and Towson. The CBS Sports quote is, these are massive numbers on afterthought games. Sportsbooks can track all betting patterns, and even with a variety of people in a criminal conspiracy betting on a game in somewhat smaller amounts, the collective action on a single mid-major contest will be immediately flagged by either the sportsbooks themselves or third-party watchdogs that monitor for integrity purposes. There are over a dozen players involved in this. It sounds like a dozen more that helped concoct the whole thing. Again, I read it at the top of the show. I thought it was awesome. A DePaul fan tweeted in 2023, this is like watching the Globetrotters, but instead of being the greatest, most fun team in basketball, it was the exact opposite. Like if the Globetrotters were just as ass as could be, that's what watching DePaul is like. And he quote tweeted that 12 hours ago with, sorry, guys. Turns out we were throwing the game on purpose. Oh, scandal afoot in college basketball. This one's one of my favorites because of the text messages that are being read out. Sorry, man. couldn't throw the game. The other team was just too ass. We couldn't throw the game.
We keeping a buck right now. We ass.
That's so good. Oh, it's so good. Coming up, 310-840-4910. Drake Toll Show. Isaac Shade. Locked On College Basketball gives us more on the biggest scandal in the country. But Ethos Life does not sponsor the scandal, nor does Ethos Ethics, Ethos Life, recommend that you fix basketball games. But they are the easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam. Just a few health questions. Get your free quote. Check ethos.com. Check ethos.com. Not available in all states. Coming up, Isaac Shade. This is the Drake Toll Show.
Well, when I was young, my mama read me nursery rhymes beside my bed. And though they sounded mighty fine, they made no sense to me. Now that I am all grown up, it seems my nights have changed as such. So I went out and made me up a nursery rhyme for me. It goes bar light, bar bright, first bar that I see tonight. Wish I might find someone to hold me tight. Hey, diddle, diddle, the man with the fiddle and the girl sing along with the tunes. Just one more dance till you turn out the lights and you can shut down this saloon. You know, I never understood how a big old gal can raise no kids in a shoe. And any old jack goes jumping a candle needs to find something better to do. And a rub-a-dub-dub 3 minute a tub sure sounds kind of funny to me. So I made up a honky-tonk nursery rhyme and it's the only one I'll sing. It goes bar light, bar bright, first bar that I see tonight. Wish I might find someone to hold me tight. Hey, diddle, diddle, the man with the fiddle and the girl sing along with the tunes. Just one more dance till you turn out the lights and you can shut down this saloon. I said I never understood how a big old gal could raise no kids in a shoe. And any old jack goes jumping a candle needs to find something better to do. And a rub-a-dub-dub 3-minute a tub sure sounds kind of funny to me. So I made up a honky-tonk nursery rhyme, and it's the only one I'll sing. It goes bar light, bar bright, first bar that I see tonight. Wish I might find someone to hold me tight. Hey diddle diddle, a man with a fiddle and the girls sing along with the tune. Just one more dance till you turn out the lights and you can shut down this saloon. I said just one more dance till you turn out the lights and you can shut down this saloon.
Bring it on. Drake Toll, The Drake Toll Show. Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app. What a name. Westwood One, like the Harvard of sports media, right? It just feels different. Ryan Radke, Kevin Harlan, Ian Eagle, and now 24/7 radio. Drake Toll with you. Major headlines across the country for a January that has been packed so far, and one of the biggest, John Harbaugh, the new head coach of the New York Football Giants. Kyle Tucker today signing with the Dodgers out of free agency. Addie, in a quick blurb, you said this will end up leading to a lockout in 2027. That's correct?
Yes, we will be most likely missing baseball in 2027. Maybe not the whole season, but at least a portion of it.
Oh, that is completely gross. And, of course, 4 games in the postseason this weekend in the National Football League, the national championship in college football. It is Miami and Indiana on Monday. But middle of our week, we get hit with a massive news blurb, scandal afoot. Isaac Shade of Locked On College Basketball joins the show today to help make sense of any of this. Isaac, let's start here. This point-shaving scandal we're seeing, we've got what I've called pimps of college basketball texting players mid-game saying, yo, hooping your ass off, WTF, and asking them to slow things down and lose games. I'm going to give it to you 30,000 foot because there have to be a million thoughts from you, the college basketball guy. Where do we start on what is happening in this sport?
Well, Drake, specifically with this, I think it is a more direct result of the NIL era that we're in. I know this has happened before, and I know we've had those issues, but specifically these 5 fixers that have been named in this indictment that was unsealed on Thursday by the FBI have targeted low-major and mid-major players who were not benefiting from NIL. And you got to know that when dudes all over the country are making millions because of their name, image, and likeness, there's this where's mine? How do I get my money off of this? Well, you know what? That could come in the form of $10,000 to $30,000 bribes that these fixers are going to offer me to shave mid-major and low-major games that nobody's paying attention to. And I think that, for me, is the root of the whole issue here.
It seems like this goes very, very deep in college basketball years back. Even the Guangdong Southern Tigers are involved.
Yeah.
This scandal, so I think, Shane, what you're hitting on has been a major topic in college athletics, how NIL and the Sherman Antitrust Act and the fairness in the game, whether you're at HBCU or at Ohio State, affects football and basketball and it is such an expansive topic when you bring in NIL and the comparison of what a lot of these players from a Coppin State are being paid compared to players at the University of Arkansas. Is this going to fall down on the kids, though? Is there any way to avoid them being not the total scapegoats, but them being so caught up in this that their careers and effective lives in sports are done?
I think that's a very realistic possibility. Yes, it will fall on the players. I hope to goodness it falls on these fixers,
right?
Who have preyed on these young men, who many of whom, it's probably easily the biggest amount of money they have ever seen, and that is where, for me, it has to start. We have to nail down these people, chief of whom are named Shane Hennon and Marvis Fairley, two men at the center of the scheme, who partnered with, you named the Dragons there from the Chinese Basketball Association. Former LSU player Antonio Blakeney was the one that came in through that way and was helping find college players to target. And that is always the issue for me, is the biggest perpetrators are the ones who prey on, and hear me calling college basketball players vulnerable, but you get the point, where these guys want and need money, and this is a way to do it that they thought would be seemingly in obscurity. But guess what, Drake Toll? If we're dropping six-figure bets on the first half total of mid-major and low-major basketball games, there were watchdogs everywhere who were going to see that you dropped $242,000 on Duquesne to cover 5 in the first half against St. Louis. What are we doing?
Yeah, that's where I was going to go next. So your segue is perfect. Isaac Shea of Locked On College Basketball joining the Drake Toll Show. How stupid is it if you want to make money to try to make money this way?
Yes, it's idiotic. Like, how in all of God's green goodness do you think that this is not going to get flagged because of all the tools that are at the disposal of these sports books, of independent third-party watchdogs who are tasked with watching over these things?
Yeah.
There is no way that that's going to get by. And that might be the most hilarious, but also the dumbest part of all this. Like, if you are going to engage in a scheme of this scope that involves now millions of dollars bet and won, you have to know that there were people watching and going to bring you down.
Isaac, what comes out of this? Do we see the NCAA? And you mentioned, we've said the word watchdog a couple times. Is this where the NCAA steps in and goes full crackdown? We're going to find any and all of this across the board and put an end to it. Is there a new rule put in place? Do we try to even the playing field amongst NIL for the guys from South Carolina State versus the guys from South Carolina? Where do we find reprieve come a year from now when this starts to work itself out?
To that last question, no. Like, the inequity is here. Sure. It's going to stay. There is nothing to be done about that. So no on part B. Part A, NCAA President Charlie Baker has been trying to work on this for a while. The example he keeps using is we have to eliminate collegiate level prop bets, for example, because that is the kind of bet that is rife for this kind of betting and targeting. So the NCAA has been trying to work on this. In fact, for those who are like, wait, why is this just coming up again? Because I feel like I've been hearing about this for a while. Yes, because the NCAA has been running their own independent investigation into this. It comes up again now because yesterday, Thursday, the FBI unsealed their own indictment, and Charlie Baker and the NCAA are jumping back on that. And so what I think ultimately comes of this is it going to get I apologize for this word because it's gross in this conversation, fixed? Is it going to get fixed? No, I don't think it will, but we can continue to try and find legislation. But you know as well as I do, Drake, that anytime there's money to be made on something and an opportunity, there are bad characters who are going to try to find a way to do that. In fact, these guys, Hennon and Fairley, they were named in the NBA thing back in October, right? Remember the Chauncey Billups of it all, and the Terry Rozier? Same dudes involved in that. And so, again, I say, whether it's the NCAA or NBA or any other opportunity to make money off sports, it's going to be there. So as long as sports and betting on sports are married together, this will continue to happen.
Isaac Shade, Locked On College Basketball, talking the largest betting scandal, point-fixing scandal in college basketball history that we are in the midst of now. Right before we get you out of here, Isaac, can we pretty much, as long as what we're seeing is true, can we pretty much confirm these 15 or so players have played their final minutes of college basketball?
I would have to think. I mean, it is crazy. They're Simeon Cottle plays for Kennesaw State, preseason Conference USA Player of the Year. Homie dropped 21 on FAU in a win on Wednesday night, Drake, 2 nights ago. Kennesaw State announced he has been suspended indefinitely. Wow. Carlos Hart at Eastern Michigan, EMU announced Thursday that he has been suspended. So at least 4 of these guys have played for their schools within the past week. But 3 of them, it's issues stemming from previous schools, shout out transfer portal. But yes, these dudes are done in college basketball. Are they done with basketball entirely forever? Will every league all over the world ban them? That I can't say. But for college basketball, and with the way Charlie Baker and the NCAA have been looking at this for a while now, yeah, these dudes are done playing NCAA collegiate basketball. Put a pin in that, definitely.
Wow. I mean, surely the Guangdong Southern Tigers would take them, right? Like you've got to think.
Absolutely.
They've done worse, I'm sure, before. Isaac Shade, Locked On College Basketball, joining the Drake Toll Show. Thanks so much for your insight and giving us more from Charlie Baker, the NCAA, and star players caught up in this. That was spectacular.
My pleasure, brother. Have a great show. Let's go.
Man, Isaac Shade. He woke up early to join Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app, for free. Like, this is free for you. You got to hear all of that for free. The information, the things that I learned. I hope you learned them. You know, like it's the beauty of radio is when a guest comes on. If you really dial it in, if you're like, wow, that guy's saying things. These are the experts. Isaac Shade's a college basketball expert. He is as in tune and in touch as anyone that I know in the sport, and had way more information than the layman could give you on college basketball's big point shaving scandal. That is just one of the many major headlines today that we've gotten to on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app all across the country. There is sports. That's pretty awesome. Stephen Willis is on the other side of this break. Locked On Ole Miss will describe to us how Lane Kiffin is creating fake NIL contracts and leaking them to Ole Miss players to create conflict and infighting in the hopes that the Ole Miss players will leave the university, breach their contracts, and come to LSU. I don't think that's legal. And you can also get in on the action, 310-840-4910, 310-840-4910, Westwood One Sports, Westwood One Sports app. This is the Drake Toll Show.
This is Westwood One's.
She just caught the Jamestown ferry. It's not a hot day, January, like she said it'd be if she ever left me. A case of gone was all she carried as she got on the Jamestown ferry. And she said that gone was all he'd ever be. I didn't think that she'd leave me after saying how much she need me, but the fact still remains. I'm sitting there all alone, missing the loving of my baby. Lord, it's about to drive me crazy. She was the sweetest piece of ever I've ever known. She just caught the Jamestown ferry. It's not a hot day, January, like she said it'd be if she ever left me. A case of gone was all she carried as she got on the Jamestown ferry. And she said that gone was all she'd ever be. As I walk through that valley of honky-tonks and bars, I remember how she'd hold me, comfort me with talk. She didn't cuss with every breath. She had a soothing southern drawl, made me feel like a man through it all. She just caught the Jamestown ferry. It's not a hot day, January, like she said it'd be if she ever left me.
Honestly, I'm peeking your plateau. Honestly, I'm trying to be more honest with my shadow. Honestly, if somebody knew everything that I know, I think that everybody would be coming to the chateau. Honestly,
here we go.
It's about to get freaky.
10 years removed from 2016. I was so young. But like actually, 8th or 9th grade. It's crazy, man. Time marches on. Life goes on. That same year, Lane Kiffin was the offensive coordinator at Alabama, gearing up to take on this new project named Jalen Hurts. And much has changed. A massive news day in sports. John Harbaugh to the New York Giants. Kyle Tucker to the Los Angeles Dodgers. 4 postseason games this weekend. We will give you a preview of each of those in quick fashion coming up on the Drake Toll Show. But a story you may have missed or may be missing. Out of college football, Lane Kiffin tampering with the Ole Miss football program as now the head coach of the LSU Tigers. Stephen Willis of Locked On Ole Miss called me last night. He joins the show today, the Drake Toll Show on Westwood One Sports. And when you called me, Stephen, it was urgent that the levels of alleged tampering that are happening right now between the Kiffin camp and Ole Miss have reached an all-time pettiness high.
Yeah, absolutely. Whenever I received calls from a source inside the Ole Miss program, pretty close to the situation, said that they are currently in hand-to-hand combat with Lane Kiffin in the Ole Miss locker room, essentially. And it's weird, Drake, because like 48 hours ago, they talked about a leak that happened about contracts going out and then causing all this discord that was going on. TJ Daugherty entered the portal and immediately visited LSU and all of that. You find out that there was no leak. It was all a plant set up from the folks down in South Louisiana. And after the seeds of discord got sown, all of a sudden, even players that have been signed, similar to the Damon Williams situation at the University of Washington, the LSU staff and everybody was contacting Ole Miss players via text and FaceTime and calling, trying to get them to get in the portal before today and before it closes. It honestly, this is just my opinion of what's going on, but I think he thought there was going to be a Jerry Maguire type moment, who's coming with me? And then he looked up and nobody was coming with him. And then all of a sudden, well, we need to move on to plan B. And it looks like this is plan B.
Stephen, I want to get to how, from my perspective, a lot of this is blown up in Lane Kiffin's face. But before we go there, let's hone in a bit more. For you, what you're saying is the 48 hours ago headline of, contracts that were released, players learn what other players are making, and a couple star players get upset over what they're being paid versus other players are being paid. Those were allegedly, I guess to save us a bit, fabricated contracts created by the Kiffin camp.
Yeah, that is the rumor. Everybody said to me, everything that happened on those contracts, it was a fake story, and that's coming from the Ole Miss side. And so that news had to come from somewhere, and the people that would stand to benefit the most are down in Louisiana.
Yeah, that is, again, Stephen Willis, as locked in with the Ole Miss Rebels as you can get in the football program. So, Stephen, what were some of those reactions amongst the players in the locker room when they found out these fake contract numbers? I mean, is it true these stars were immediately upset and possibly looking for ways out of Oxford?
Yeah, I think it did work. It served its purpose because everybody knows that if you use common sense and think about it for just a second, 3 years ago, the value of these players are not what they are now.
Yeah.
So the players that are just getting recruited are getting probably 3 times as much money as somebody that was recruited 3 years ago. That would cause a problem. Everybody wants to put a monetary value on their worth. I don't blame the players at all on that. That is a system flaw. The issue that likely Ole Miss has and what they're having to deal with right now is somebody using that to their advantage, something that everybody has to do, everybody has to put up with. Somebody decided to weaponize that information and use it against the school to try and make the roster a little better.
Stephen, if there's somebody right now driving their car in Laurel, Mississippi, thinking, okay, well, if it's come out now that these contracts were fake or they were planted, then can't the players just all get over it and go back to being normal and happy and there being this, hold hands kumbaya moment? But the toothpaste is out of the tube. Once you've thrown a fit for 72 hours, you're not being paid. It's really hard to mend those relationships inside of that program, and things just go back to normal immediately. But is there a reprieve, a resolve to this where in, say, a week, Ole Miss has come together, the players realize these were fabricated, and harmony is restored without losing any of your top-tier talent to Baton Rouge or elsewhere?
I do think the important thing is to getting to midnight tonight.
Okay.
Because if you get to midnight tonight, the portal closes, you can kind of start taking a breath and regrouping, and you can concentrate on other things other than player retention. There's not going to be an avenue for somebody to poach your locker room once the portal is closed. But I think that we can overlook a lot of stuff. I mean, I'm sure fans can. you overlooked what happened. I mean, Lane Kiffin was in Oxford for 6 years. You obviously overlooked some stuff there, so I don't see why there would be a problem where it would be a bridge too far.
No, they've already dealt with Lane Kiffin long enough, right? You can deal with almost anything in the scandal department now if you're Ole Miss. It is Stephen Willis of Locked On Ole Miss joining the Drake Toll Show on Westwood One Sports, talking Lane Kiffin, the LSU camp, still tampering with the Rebels down in Oxford. Stephen, this process for Lane Kiffin, how different has it gone? And when I say process, the last 2 months, how different has it gone than Lane expected it to go?
I think I literally thought that he thought he was going to be able to go to LSU and coach in the playoffs. He was 100% certain.
Wow.
To the point where they were fighting about it tooth and nail. And once that happened, everything is, well, okay, Pete Golding, obviously, he's going to lose to Tulane because Ole Miss was only good because of me.
Yeah.
You know, when you're dealing with a malignant narcissist, you have to understand that everything is about them. So the playoff run, Ole Miss, every game that they won was an affront on him. It was a hit to his ego. And because of that, there has to be a way to set Ole Miss back to the place where he thinks they belong before Lane Kiffin. Whenever back in the Matt Luke days, when Ole Miss was just coming off of probation in the late 2019, 2018 area, that's the Ole Miss that he views at the moment, and he needs to get Ole Miss back to that level. So, yes, he can point to this and say, hey, I was the best coach that you ever had. You couldn't hold me, and you were only good because of me. If that doesn't happen, it will be a problem for him because that's the narrative that he needs to happen. And that is why what is going on is going on. It's a petty win the breakup type situation between the two factions. And Ole Miss has had the better end of it. This is kind of like the death throes of that. Now, I will say this. If there's any way, he's probably researching right now, any way that he can get COVID before September 19th.
Yeah.
But if there's any way that he can not make that trip to Oxford, that would probably benefit him.
Yeah, that will be appointment viewing when Lane Kiffin makes his unwanted, unwelcome homecoming. And, Stephen, there was a time when he first walked out or when he was first looking at these jobs where the Ole Miss fan base was kind of split into, hey, 6 of the best years you could ask for. If he does it the right way, then whatever. And the other half, which I thought were correct, of this guy could win a championship with Ole Miss and is giving up. But each of those sides had a point. Now he is united, the Ole Miss fan base, Pete Golding, the players, the staff. He's united a state against Lane Kiffin. Is that unification, perceived unification, A, is it real? And B, does it mean that Ole Miss is in a very good spot going into 2026?
Ole Miss is in a very good spot going into 2026 if they survive this transfer portal the next 18 hours or so. Now, think about this. There are factions of the Mississippi State fan base on Ole Miss's side for this, if that tells you how badly it's been handled. Yes, the Ole Miss fan base has been completely galvanized, and you can see that with the fact that they have the number 2 rated transfer portal class right now on 247. Because they're obviously doing what they need to do on their end. So the galvanization is absolutely there in the fan base. And honestly, they're kind of excited for 2026 and what it can mean, especially if Trinidad Chambliss gets his waiver and all of that. You're looking at a potentially top 5 team going into next season, pending the next 18 hours.
Yep, and that was the last thing I wanted to hit on with you, Stephen Willis, Locked On Ole Miss. Trinidad Chambliss, where do the Rebels sit with him? Because anybody in college football needs to have their eyes on the Rebels if he comes back as a favorite in the SEC and in college football.
Right now, his first waiver was denied. Ole Miss is appealing it through the NCAA. His lawyers, his representation, however you want to put it, are getting ready either today or early next week, according to Pete Thamel, filing a lawsuit in the state of Mississippi for eligibility to have a more favorable view of what's going on. Trinidad Chambliss, if he comes back, listen, he's the Heisman Trophy favorite. Ole Miss is a top 5 team, an SEC favorite. I mean, all of that is on the table if Trinidad comes back. That is going to be a very watched couple of weeks while they wait to see if an injunction is granted.
No doubt. Stephen Willis, Locked On Ole Miss, joining the Drake Toll Show. Stephen, thanks so much for getting up early and for your time.
Oh, no problem, buddy.
Wow. On the same day that we hear of college basketball's largest scandal maybe ever, and some real talent, real studs that are locked up in this point-fixing deal, the day that we hear Kyle Tucker is now a Dodger, the day that we preview 4 NFL postseason games, talk the national championship, Indiana and Miami on Monday night, John Harbaugh to the Giants, Mike Tomlin out in Pittsburgh. It is just a buffet, dog, of incredible storylines in sports. One of them being Lane Kiffin, because it was mentioned on this show, a stretch where at the time we believed contracts were leaked, that Ole Miss has been too loose with their NIL contracts. Players are seeing what other players are making, and they are upset. They don't like that. The leaders of the team want to leave the team because they do not like what other athletes are making. It is causing a problem, a rift in the locker room that the university was just too loose with what they're paying people. Then come to find out, sources telling Stephen Willis and others that instead it was Lane Kiffin who dropped the play sheet. He said, you guys want to know my script for my first drive? Let me just drop this in the locker room. It's a contract for NIL. Fabricated contracts that players got a hold of creates infighting. And as Stephen said, you need to be dialed in the next 16 hours if you're a college football fan on what happens at Ole Miss, because the players still have 16 hours to enter the transfer portal to leave Oxford and find some sort of shelter elsewhere. And that shelter would be likely LSU, Lane Kiffin. Malignant narcissist was the word that Stephen used to describe Kiffin and the way the situation has gone down. Look, he hit the nail on the head. Lane Kiffin believed he would leave Ole Miss. The whole staff, all the players would go with him. They traveled to Baton Rouge, how much better it would be to be an LSU Tiger than to be an Ole Miss Rebel. We can win here. We have more NIL here. And what happened is the second Kiffin crossed the border into the boot state, once he got to the boot, Mississippi locked its borders. They locked the door at Oxford. They encamped themselves inside of the castle and said, you, Lane Kiffin, do not get in, and you cannot come steal, poach, take. We'll keep the entire defensive staff. Pete Golding revamped the defense at Ole Miss. Made the defense exponentially better toward the end of Lane's tenure there to make them an actual national championship contender instead of just an offensive juggernaut. They said, no, we don't want you here anymore. And you're not taking the players. You're not taking all the coaches. You're not taking all the NIL. You're not coaching in the college football playoff. You're not going to try to lead this team to a championship. We can do it without you. And they did beat Georgia without Lane Kiffin. They won 2 playoff games without Lane Kiffin. The situation just hasn't gone the way he wants it to. But everybody in life knows a Lane Kiffin type. And I've told you on the show, I don't hate Lane Kiffin. I don't dislike Lane Kiffin. It's whatever, but it's also my job to have an opinion, an educated opinion, on situations such as these. Situations such as Lane Kiffin leaving Ole Miss the way he left Ole Miss. And I can tell you, I know these people. You know these people. They don't lose. Even when they're wrong. Even when they get fired. Even when everybody, yes, you lost. Hang it up. Give up. You lost. You left Ole Miss and you didn't have it your way. You didn't get it your way. You failed at winning this transfer portal battle against the Rebels. You failed at winning by bringing all the staff members over. You failed at being able to coach in the playoff. But the way that Lane sees it, the way these guys see it, they didn't fail. They didn't lose. There is no losing. As long as I continue to tell myself and tell others that I've won, can I ever really lose? And man, it's kind of it's a bold but effective strategy. Lane will always be the good guy in Lane's book. But why not? Why not? in the land of college football coaching, where today grifting can probably get you further than anywhere else, why not do what he's doing? Do you blame Lane Kiffin for being the master puppeteer, the great politician? Do you blame Lane Kiffin for being, and maybe he's making immoral moves, but is college football inherently moral? What are the ethics of college football? At some degree of this, as bad as it all is, as much as it did not work out for Lane Kiffin wins because he told you he won. And that's all that matters to Lane Kiffin. The other side, I know who will win. Between the Seahawks and the 49ers. Oh, and is Josh Allen hurt? This is the Drake Toll Show.
Bodies go on trial just for laughing at the joke, just for saying of the bargain what any sales girl already knows. Most of us old men die at the firing line, just waiting for our number to be called. I guess time just makes fools of us all. Now the king regales his stepson when he's loaded as a gun. Says a real man is like a country. You need a map to find your one. Now how do you suppose you must approach the throne with its back up against the wall? I guess time just makes fools of us all. Minds of my generation gladly conscripted in the war of defending any Goliath that would deign darken the door. Now with your genius for picking battles, it's no wonder every helmet is too small. I guess time just makes fools of us all. I guess time just makes fools of us all. My drink is watered down. The champ is on his knees. He lost the rematch. He lost the comeback. He lost for charity, but that's the job. It's what gets the asses in the hall. They came for a beating, and he came to brawl. Notice that of all the young gods I have known, yours is easily the least famous to turn down the cover of a Rolling Stone. Lily white faces, so familiar and yet impossible to recall. I guess time just makes fools of us all. After a millennia of good times, God said, hey now, let's have a dream where we raise the stakes a little. Come on, let's make things interesting. Parachute into the Anthropocene, an amnesiac, a himbo and all. I guess time does make fools of us all.
Keep pounding a rhythm to the brain.
Friday, January 16th, 2026. My mother's birthday. The Drake Toll Show. Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app. Addie Bates produces the show from Washington, D.C. Curtis Poindexter runs the board. Addie, top 3 storylines that stand out the most to you today.
From my perspective, we've already talked about it ad nauseum. Kyle Tucker to the Dodgers, what that means for baseball. John Harbaugh, what that means for the Giants, that it's reported that he's with the Giants. And then, honestly, the college basketball point shaving scandal and what the NCAA is going to do about that.
Isn't it crazy that I could come up with 3 other headlines right now that are like of equal importance?
This is why sports are amazing.
That's why January 16th is the best, man. Like, what if I said, Addie, I think the national championship in college football is slightly more important than one of those, you know?
I'd agree on Monday for sure.
Right. Like, you could agree that, like, yeah, that's a huge, or I would say, hey, Addie, I think the NFL playoffs this weekend are a bigger storyline than one of those. Like, yeah, maybe. It's just the fact that it's that deep. There's that much going on right now. Did you know?
Crazy. It's crazy.
Maybe a top 3 in mine would be that the 49ers have an electromagnetic facility next to their stadium that's killing all of their players. Did you know this? Have you seen this?
Here we go again.
It's killing them. Yes, they're dying on the field as we speak.
It's killing them slowly by deteriorating their bones and ligaments. Okay. This was kind of a satirical thing that was launched a few weeks ago of, oh, the 49ers are all getting hurt. Wonder why. There has to be a reason. And then reports surface that there is an electromagnetic facility next to their stadium and that can deteriorate your tendons, I guess. Not really sure how that happens. Doesn't that seem a little like, are you buying the moon landing was faked here? Are you buying this conspiracy?
I've seen this posted and cited by a bunch of wellness people, which I'm not just going to sit here and drag them, but until I see like a scientific study, like an actual research paper out of these people from Harvard who have like multiple PhDs, that's when I will believe it. I'm not saying that maybe it's not true. Maybe it's not true, but there's also people who are saying that you wearing sunscreen is what gives you skin cancer. Okay? So there's just a lot out there. Yes, I have heard that one. And so until somebody very, very, very smart comes out and say, hey, this is true, then I don't know if I'll completely buy into it.
Yeah, the Twitter doctors are out and about today on why the 49ers, who will take on, this is at one of the biggest games you could ask for, the Seattle Seahawks this weekend, of why those 49ers are so banged up. The Twitter doctors want to tell you it's electromagnetic waves. If there is a team that needs rest, it's San Francisco. And Seattle just got that rest. They had the bye as the number 1 overall seed in the NFC. Addie, I just don't think there's any way San Francisco wins this game. I really don't see a way with George Kittle out. Said Warner's not playing either. There's no way San Francisco wins this game.
The way that San Francisco wins this game is if Seattle's quarterback, Sam Darnold, is not playing this weekend. Because do you know who their backup quarterback is? You get three guesses.
Matt Hasselbeck.
No.
Okay. Matt Castle.
You get one more guess.
Matt Schaub.
Drew Lock, who played for the Missouri Tigers.
I forget about Drew Lock, man. Yeah, Denver. He was wrapped up in that.
He's their backup.
He was wrapped up in the Russ trade, right?
Yes, he's their backup quarterback. He got.
Wow.
Kubiak was talking about. Yeah, he had some reps in practice. If Drew Lock is what you're banking on, you're probably not in a good position. So Sam Darnold, whose field is not by an electromagnetic field, so I don't know how he got injured. Actually, don't know what caused that. If he's out, which I'm not super high on him, but I mean, Drew Lock, come on.
Sam Darnold spoke to the media this week and said this on playing this weekend, at least that's the plan right now, despite his injury.
Just in routes on air, just kind of felt a little something in my oblique. Just didn't want to push it. Wasn't the day to push it, so that was it. So just came inside, got some rehab, and feel like I'll be ready to go for Saturday.
Yep. Sounds confident enough. Sam Darnold playing this weekend. Addy, people were telling me they already did not trust Sam Darnold, the winningest quarterback in the NFL the last 2 years. They were already telling me they did not trust Sam Darnold in the postseason. Now he is hurt. Any reason that America should buy into the Sam Darnold postseason Seattle Seahawks experience?
If there's one reason, because trust me, I'm one of those people. I could trust him as far as I could throw him. I trust him just like I trusted Mike Tomlin in the playoffs.
Nice.
It's because they won the division, number 1 seed, with a win over Brock Purdy and the 49ers a couple weeks ago. And it was the lowest scoring output for the 49ers since 2017. They stopped this 49ers offense. They scored 3 points, a field goal, could not even get a touchdown. That Seahawks defense is going to be so important. And so I'm going to rely more on the defense than I'm going to rely on a banged-up Sam Darnold in that offense right now.
Yeah, this is the ghost of what the 49ers were even 2 weeks ago when they played against Seattle. As they continue to lose players, George Kittle, Warner being the last two that are the biggest ones, the biggest storylines coming into this game. That was a 23-3 final score. Look, Purdy, he's confident. I don't lack him for that. Played him 2 weeks ago. Looking back on that game, he says, we game plan. It's fresh in your mind. Pick up where you left off. Obviously make some changes where you need to, but yeah, it feels like we just played them. But that Seahawks defense, DVOA, when we're talking efficiencies, when we're talking metrics that go outside of points allowed, which are good, yards allowed, which are good, they're a historically good defense and just not getting enough credit. Because, well, no one's really ever heard of their head coach. Who is this guy? Oh, Sam Darnold's their quarterback? What? Sam Darnold? Ugh. The credit is not there for Seattle, and it should be there. It's 5:30 local time right now. Somebody's listening in their car in Snohomish or Snoqualmie, Bellevue, Kirkland, the Washington area, thinking, why is nobody talking about a team that has all of the efficiency metrics that point towards Super Bowl? A team that could very well win a team who has home field advantage in the entire postseason in one of the toughest places to play. Seattle finished the season 7 straight wins, 14 victories. It's a franchise record, 14 victories. And did you know Pete Carroll coached there? Won a Super Bowl there? Seahawks offense still has concerns, no doubt. Sam Darnold still has concerns. The oblique is a concern. But Mike McDonald has built a defense, has built a football team that is a juggernaut. And I just don't think the 49ers on a short week with everyone banged up, with a lack of supporting cast, will be able to deal with the team that I picked to win the Super Bowl at the beginning of the playoffs. My horse was Seattle, and I'm sticking with Seattle after George Kittle tore his right Achilles. This weekend of the postseason, 4 games, 4 opportunities to see if these teams are real, to see if the Seahawks are real when it comes to listen to this. Bears, Rams, Seahawks, Niners. One of those 4 teams will go to the Super Bowl. No, let me redo that. Bears, Rams, Seahawks. One of those 3 teams will go to the Super Bowl. The Chicago Bears are still in there. The new look Seattle Seahawks are in there. The Rams, Matthew Stafford, are many people's favorites. They would have to go to Seattle next week. Bills, Broncos, Texans, Patriots. One of those teams will go to the Super Bowl. The Bills, you're like, yeah, I could see that. The Broncos? The Texans? The Patriots? That's brand. That's some new blood right there. That sounds a lot like Matt Schaub, 2015, 2016. Yeah, New England would be there. Maybe Matt Schaub's Texans are there. Maybe the Broncos are there with Peyton Manning at quarterback. There are still a ton of Super Bowl, who could play who. Possibilities, that's the word. That's the word. But dissect it. The Bills, the Broncos, the Texans, the Patriots, one of those teams will go to the big game. I do think if we rapid fire cover each of these, I do think the Bills, you've told me the Bills have their best shot ever. That run game is great. If they're 5-3 on the road, if the defense can hold up on the road at Mile High in a good, fair weather game too, which works for them, works in their favor, this Bills team, whose only loss as of late was to Philadelphia, 13-12. That gross game where Josh Allen was incompetent and threw the ball into the ground instead of converting a 2-point conversion. This Bills team, who we've seen put up 41 points against Baltimore, 40 points against Carolina, 44 points against Tampa, 39 against Cincy, 35 against New England on the road, and the Jets, that New England game, a massive comeback. This is the year. This is the year. You're playing Bo Nix and the Broncos. Not to be overlooked, Sean Payton says this is a Super Bowl caliber Broncos team. As good a team, as complete a team as he's coached. By the way, Sean Payton, as a head coach, has won the Super Bowl. And the Broncos get to play at home at Mile High. The same Broncos who their only recent loss was Jacksonville, 24-20. They started 1-2. They're now 14-3, coming off of extra rest. But the narrative will be, and probably justifiably, if Josh Allen can't beat Bo Nix in the postseason, can't beat Bo Nix in the playoffs on Saturday afternoon, then do we just put it to bed? Is there a coaching change, or do we put it to bed? Do we say, finally, we're done trusting Josh Allen? He's not going to win the Super Bowl. And if he loses, do we try to make the case that maybe he'll be John Elway? Maybe in a few years, maybe to end his career, he's a Super Bowl caliber quarterback, but not today, not right now. Texans, Patriots? New England favored by 3. I know they're playing at home. 35 degrees. You told me C.J. Stroud's bad in cold weather. I just watched him. I just watched the Texans dominate on defense, and C.J. Stroud did not look good. 5 fumbles and a pick. But that's just how good the Texans defense is, that they shut down. No touchdowns for Aaron Rodgers, the Hall of Fame quarterback, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Texans' defense against Drake May. The Texans could put Drake May in a blender, a team that started 0-3 this season and then went on a tear of all tears. They've refused to lose since the last time they played Denver on November 2nd. Haven't fallen since. And have wins against Buffalo and Kansas City on the road, at Los Angeles in that span. The defense is elite. And then, to cap the weekend, Rams-Bears. The Rams favored by 3.5. I told you Matthew Stafford in the snow and the rain is 1-9 in his last 10. 1-9 in his last 10 against a Bears team that I told you after their game, their loss against San Francisco, is a Super Bowl caliber, Super Bowl quality team. I still believe that at home at Soldier Field against the Rams. So this weekend, give me the Buffalo Bills, the Seattle Seahawks, the Houston Texans and the Chicago Bears. How fun would that make our week next week? How fun. Some new blood. Somebody new in the National Football League at the top, at the front of it. Just think about it. This weekend's going to rock. On the other side, we'll recap John Harbaugh to Baltimore. Kyle Tucker, that's right, is a Dodger. And the top moments from this week on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. This NFL segment was sponsored by Robinhood. You expect more from yourself, expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. This is the Drake Toll Show.
This Sunday, it's an
Bomba-dee-da, 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 until we meet again. Happy trail, keep smiling on till then. Who cares about the clouds when we're together? Just sing a song and think about sunny weather. 2, 3, happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling on till then. Some trails are happy ones, other trails are blue. It's the way you ride that counts. Here's a happy one for you. Happy trails to you till we meet
Well, when I was young, my mama read me nursery rhymes beside my bed. And though they sounded mighty fine, they made no sense to me. Now that I am all grown up, it seems my nights have changed as such. So I went out and made me up a nursery rhyme for me. It goes bar light, bar bright, first bar that I see tonight. Wish I might find someone to hold me tight. honky tonk nursery rhyme, and it's the only one I'll sing. It goes bar light, bar bright, first bar that I see tonight. Wish I might find someone to hold me tight. Hey, diddle, diddle, man.
I got a sweet little baddie and she's rolling in the caddy with me.
Drake Toll. The Drake Toll Show. Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app. My mom's birthday today, April Toll. Happy birthday, Mom. I will celebrate a birthday tomorrow. When I come back on Monday, I will be 25. 1 year older. Another trip around the sun. 1 year closer to death. We're all on a floating ball of rock. And that floating ball of rock is headed harmfully, quickly, toward a floating ball of gas. And the second we get close enough, it all ends. It's all over. It's done. So what is 25 to you? What is that number? What does it mean? What is this symbol, combination of symbols that we've tagged to what I've done in life? We've tagged to my existence, to quantify it somehow. I ponder that question. And I ponder it deeply over the course of this weekend as the festivities commence. In the meantime, Kyle Tucker is a Dodger. Addie, what does that even mean?
Kyle Tucker signed a bigger contract than Juan Soto. A lot of it's going to be deferred. The Dodgers are continuing to spend in order to win. But what does that mean for the rest of baseball? Why should you care? Well, if you watch baseball, you won't be in 2027. You will this year. You got it this year. But next year, maybe the whole season will be gone. I don't want to be hyperbolic with that, but at least a couple of games. At least a couple of months, honestly, because of a lockout. And you're saying, well, why don't other teams just do that? Go back to macroeconomics and microeconomics on why small market teams cannot compete with the Dodgers or the Yankees or the Mets and sign these billion-dollar TV deals. It just can't happen when you are the Milwaukee Brewers. The Sacramento A's, they can't do it. They don't profit enough. So yes, if you can't beat them, join them, I guess. But don't sit here and say every team can do this, because if you're saying that, it's okay to admit you don't know ball.
Bang. That's a minute. John Harbaugh's the new coach, allegedly. They're working on a deal between him and the New York Giants. New York football Giants, to be exact. Elsewhere, the greatest gambling, betting, fixing scandal we've ever seen is happening right now in college basketball. And not even just on some scrubs. Kevin Cross, Tulane player for 4 years, played in 120 games, was just fixing them. 120 games. Oof, not good. Here are the best moments this week. As we look back in the NFL, college football, even college basketball's biggest scandal. The best moments of the Drake Toll Show this week start. Every Friday we give you our best moments. I've got 4 of them. Start with Gene Battaglia on what a Super Bowl is going to mean for the Bills when it comes to Buffalo this year.
What would it do for the fan base? What would it do for our region? It is, I think it's accurate to describe this fan base as it's really like a college type of fan base. How else would you explain that this franchise, 17 years, didn't make a postseason, but yet we're all showing up there and, snow and everything else. So it's you, it's your dad, it's your grandfather, it's your mom, it's everybody, the storyline. It is the one thing that kind of connects us here because this part of the region, let's face it, we've taken our knocks here. Like it's been tough here in the Rust Belt for various reasons, but people pride themselves in being resilient and having a football team that kind of mirrors that in some ways. When you go back to the Super Bowl era where like, okay, we'll pick ourselves up, we'll dust ourselves off. All right, maybe that's the maybe this is the 2025 version of the Buffalo Bills, where you have a wide receiver, Drake, last week playing on a torn ACL in the second half in Tyrell Shavers. And if you watch that video, he is helping that tush push for 11 yards. That's the sort of thing that people can, so to answer your question, what would Valentine's be? They'd be like, I think I'd be drunk for an entire week. How's that? Like with everybody else here with happiness.
The Gene Battaglia bender on tap, pun intended, if the Bills win the Super Bowl, and they would have to get through the Broncos, through Denver on the road this week for the next step, the next domino to fall, and get themselves the AFC Championship game. We also heard from the Hall of Famer, a man who was taking it all in as he had just been informed he had reached the College Football Hall of Fame, the pinnacle. A guy from small-town Kansas, TCU legend Coach Gary Patterson, joined the show.
As I tell people, greatness happens in a period of time where dreams and hard work meet. And, a lot of times coming out of that small little town, you know how to work, but you don't know how to dream. And so that was one of the things that I had to learn how to do. And so there's a lot of people that dream but don't know how to work hard to go find it. And so it's definitely, it took a lot of...
You won't have time to be able to do all four and hit our heart out.
3 chancellors,
Yeah, Addie just texted you too, but
Fort,
I'll have to get rid of either Willis or Lane or Shade.
City of Fort Worth and surrounding areas, and to make it all happen, you had to have a bunch of people that wanted vision that ended up, and there was a lot of people that just, were, I'm glad you have this energy and this, we really don't think this will happen because it's never happened in Fort Worth. It's never happened at TCU, but there's a lot of leaders, big families in the city that had vision to go ahead and help. And that's why Fort Worth's grown into the town it is, and why so many people are coming here, just like the state of Texas. They're moving in because of things that happened. Application-wise, it went from 4,000 applications in 1998 to, after the Rose Bowl, around 24,000 applications. And then once TCU went to the college football championship, went to around a little over 40,000 applications for a school that only takes, a couple thousand students a year. So I think it's a great dream and a great journey that everybody should look at the story and say, if you want something to happen, you get enough people that think the same way you do, that it can happen. And so all the way to where it's, to know in the new, since 1980, only 2 TCU people have gone into, athletes or coaches have gone in. LaDainian Tomlinson, that played with the Chargers, great player, NFL Hall of Famer, and Gary Patterson. So, it's something that I'll be proud of, and I'm hoping my family's really proud of everything that happened. So.
That interview in full is available right now on the Drake Toll Show YouTube channel. Coach Gary Patterson, the Hall of Famer, emotional about his induction. Really cool to have on the show yesterday. Then today, breaking news in college basketball. The NCAA stepping in and handling this point-shaving scandal. How will they handle it? Isaac Shade of Locked On College Basketball gave us more.
To that last question, no. Like the inequity is here. It's going to stay. Sure. There is nothing to be done about that. So no on part B. Part A, NCAA President Charlie Baker has been trying to work on this for a while. The example he keeps using is we have to eliminate collegiate level prop bets, for example, because that is the kind of bet that is rife for this kind of betting and targeting. So the NCAA has been trying to work on this. In fact, for those who are like, wait, why is this just coming up again? Because I feel like I've been hearing about this for a while. Yes, because the NCAA has been running their own independent investigation into this. It comes up again now because yesterday, Thursday, the FBI unsealed their own indictment, and Charlie Baker and the NCAA are jumping back on that. And so what I think ultimately comes of this is it going to get, I apologize for this word because it's gross in this conversation, fixed? Is it going to get fixed? No, I don't think it will, but we can continue to try and find legislation. But you know as well as I do, Drake, that anytime there's money to be made on something and an opportunity, there are bad characters who are going to try to find a way to do that. In fact, these guys, Hennon and Fairley, they were named in the NBA thing back in October, right? Remember the Chauncey Billups of it all and the Terry Rozier?
Yeah.
Same dudes involved in that. And so, again, I say, whether it's the NCAA or NBA or any other opportunity to make money off sports, it's going to be there. So as long as sports and betting on sports are married together, this will continue to happen.
Isaac Shade, Locked on College Basketball, talking the largest betting scandal, point-fixing scandal in college basketball history that we are in the midst of now. Right before we get you out of here, Isaac, can we pretty much, as long as what we're seeing is true, can we pretty much confirm these 15 or so players have played their final minutes of college basketball?
I would have to think. I mean, it is crazy. They're Simeon Cottle plays for Kennesaw State, preseason Conference USA Player of the Year. Homie dropped 21 on FAU in a win on Wednesday night, right? 2 nights ago. Kennesaw State announced he has been suspended indefinitely. Carlos Hart at Eastern Michigan, EMU announced Thursday that he has been suspended. So at least 4 of these guys have played for their schools within the past week, but 3 of them, it's issues stemming from previous schools, shout out transfer portal. But yes, these dudes are done in college basketball. Are they done with basketball entirely forever? Will every league all over the world ban them? That I can't say. But for college basketball, and with the way Charlie Baker and the NCAA have been for a while now, yeah, these dudes are done playing NCAA collegiate basketball. Put a pin in that, definitely.
Those are the top 3 moments from this week on the Drake Toll Show. The Jake Toe Show. Top 3 moments. G. Battaglia on the Bills Super Bowl. Gary Patterson on the Hall of Fame. And Isaac Shade on the NCAA betting scandal that came down today. What a week it was in sports. Genuinely, it's not hyperbolic. Next week will be even bigger, I can guarantee it. Addie Bates produces from Washington, D.C. Curtis Poindexter runs the board in Culver City, California. To the Vice President, Bruce Gilbert, hello. Program Director, Armin Williams, hello. Nick Costos, you better, you bet, comes up next. What a Harbaugh to the postseason, the wild card, Miami and Indiana. We got it all. We'll continue to get it all, and we will have top-notch A-list guests next week as well. 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern Time every single weekday. Thanks for joining us. Nick Costos, the Venerable. Excited to listen to you. This has been and always will be. Thanks for tuning in. The Drake Toll Show.
This is Westwood One's